Alright guys, how's it going? Just heading back. I went ahead, got some gas, stopped at the Dollar Tree, getting ready for my poker tournament. Got a handful of the Slim Jims and a lot of sugar-free candy, you know, just things to munch on if I get feel that urge to have something to eat. I should be okay though. Like I said, I just woke up. It's woke up an hour or so, a couple hours ago, and had a nice big breakfast. Now I'm looking forward to this poker tournament. We're gonna see how I do. I haven't played since, oh boy, maybe July, August. It's been a while. It's been a long time, but you know, usually you catch back on. I might even play a little bit of cash games before I sit down to the tournament. The tournament starts at 6 o'clock. It's a little after 3, so I'll probably have time to sit down for maybe an hour in a cash game. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll sit down in a cash game and just win enough to pay for my tournament. Or if it's a rebuy tournament, sometimes I'll just sit down until I get enough to rebuy plus my buy-in, just in case. But of course, there's been times where I've just had a really great run at a cash table and I just stay there and I don't even play in the tournament. And that happened back in, I think, July, August. That's kind of what happened. I went to play in a tournament, sat down at a cash game. I was up $600, $800, and I just in just a few hours, and I went, you know what? I'll just take that, and I went and seen some movies and kind of, you know, take the money and run type thing. You know, it was pretty good. Oh, wow! Switching it up from the Mountain Dew today to a Diet Dr. Pepper. Wow, definitely a different taste. Definitely just different taste, that's for sure. So anyway, yeah, I'm going, if you weren't here just a second ago when I tuned you out, heading to the dog track out here. They have poker tournaments. They have live poker that you can play out at the dog tracks. And since they just voted and outlawed, you know, game, you know, the dog racing. So here in Florida, there's going to be no more, even though far back as I can remember, there's always been dog racing. They just passed it to where they said, nope, not anymore. No more dog racing. So I guess the PETA people are probably declaring it a victory. But I guess it's going to be slow. They're phasing it out. But after that's done, most of these poker rooms are going to go. They're going to disappear as well, because if you had a poker room, some kind of where they grandfathered them in and let them have their poker rooms without the dog tracks. You know, it's going to be a long drive to go play cards anywhere. Unless I do another poker club, I might open another poker club here. Then they won't have to go. Plans often go astray. I was going to see movies this weekend. But I got up a little too late. I didn't go to bed till 4:30 this morning. So when I finally did roll out of bed, I was like, well, I'll go see or I bust out early. Well, then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and grab a movie and see a movie on my way. Today is obviously not going to be one of those days where I expect it to be super busy there. It is very, as you know, for weeks now, ever since the hurricane even, it may be great in Miami or other parts of the state. It may be great, but here in the Panhandle, many people in this tournament. I'm expecting maybe 100 people, 120. You know, it's not going to be huge. They might have. Man, they had, I think there was 3,000. You know, let me, tournament here in, where I'm at. Yeah, that poor connection worries me. I'm watching. Give me a minute. As soon as I get from the stoplight, it should get better. Alright guys, hopefully the signal got better after I made that turn. I'm on one of the main drives here, so hopefully the signal's a little bit stronger and I don't have that choppiness. So, going back to what I was saying, that the poker tournament I'm going to go play in now, very small, like I said, maybe 100, 120 people, so it's not big money. First prize here, to where all this cloud cover and everything is affecting my signal, because don't seem to be getting more than 1 bar or 2 bars. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I may not be able to stream and do what I want to do because of the signal, but you know, Verizon, what are you going to do? Their infrastructure here was down forever after the tournament, so it's no better really now, just a little bit better, but oh well. So if you can hear me, great. If not, I'll just talk to myself and figure that nobody's watching. But I do want to say that if I come in first place in this tournament, I'm hoping that that's a good sign, and I'm hoping for those of you that watch the stream during the day, you know that the state of Arizona, they basically are considering me for a job that's out there, and I'm really kind of hoping January's, this month starts a good year for me, because I really truly think that after these last 4 or 5 years I've had, I'm entitled to one good year. Actually I should say the last 10 years. The last 10 years that have thrown us one curveball after another, and just really, you get smacked down to where you're like, man, what is going on in this crazy world? I mean, so now I'm kind of hoping that maybe January 2019, maybe this is the start of a whole new year that's going to be far more beneficial to us than the last 10. I could go on and bore you with, incident after incident that just no explanation, that just things kind of shit just happens, and you got to roll with it. If you don't roll with it, it's gonna drag you down into this muck and mire. You don't want to be there. You just gotta, when the bad things happen, you gotta find the good. Believe me, I know it's next to impossible to find the good in some of the shit that happens. I know that, especially when you lose loved ones and people in your life die, and that it's, to make sense out of stuff is just so tragic. You can't do it sometimes, but I'm a firm believer that if you look, you can always find a silver lining in anything. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I know it's tough sometimes, but that's kind of what we've done, is we've tried to look at every negative thing, every bad thing, and find that goodness that came out of it, or something that led up to it that was good. We've tried to do that, and it's been going on for 10 years. I mean, it's just the wildest thing. It started in like 2007, 2008, and it has just gone down ever since. We're like, what are we doing something different? Have we changed? Is there something that we're doing? And you know what? Quite frankly, there's times when it's not you at all. It's just how life is, how the world is, how things happen, and you got to kind of adjust to them, and a lot of it factors into it's other people. It's things that are truly out of your control. I mean, it's just really, truly things happen that you have no control over. Not everybody's going to be your friend. Not everybody's going to be your enemy. There's people that are just, what do they call them? Backstabbers and cutthroats. And, the old adage, remember the bumper stickers and it just said shit happens? That's kind of it. I mean, it does happen. But it's how you deal with it. That's the true measure of who you are. Do you just fall to pieces? Do you cast blame to everybody else? Is it always this guy's fault or that guy's fault? Because sometimes it's easy to say it's somebody else's fault. Well, they didn't do this. They didn't give me the promotion I was entitled to, or they didn't do this. It's always easy to point to someone and cast blame. But sometimes it's better just to realize things for what they were. Don't cast blame. If somebody is is hating on you, if they're just really, you know, they don't like you, and they're do nothing but pray for them and say, man, I really wish they could see how ugly they are and how much hate is in their soul, and just kind of, you know, understand that it's not you, it's that person, and you know, the problem's not you. Most of the time it's not you, you know, unless you're a real asshole, which I really like to think that most people aren't. But there's some that are assholes, and then, you know, you reap what you sow, right? So if you are a certain way, of course, you're going to get that put back at you. But I don't think that's the case with most people. I think most people are inherently good. They want to do right. They want to do well. They want to, you know, and that's kind of where I had to change, because I was very cynical. I was very cynical, at one point I was not a very optimistic person. I was in a certain part of my life, this is 20, 30, I mean, long time ago, but I really quickly realized that it wasn't serving me well or anyone else, and it was just basically hurting people that really did care about me. And so I've tried to change gradually. It's been a long road, trust me. You know, it's been a long road and a long study of self-realization. I don't know how many people I don't know how many of you guys actually take the time in a quiet room or on your chair, and really do some introspective self-analysis of your life and who you are and how you are. I guarantee you, if you start doing that, all of a sudden it becomes so much clearer to the areas in your life that you need improvement in. A lot of people say, I'll go and I'll get this set of tapes, I'll get this set of that, and they call, matter of fact, if you go into a bookstore or whatever, even online, you look, it's under self-help. It'll be like, there's a whole self-help section of books and all, and it's kind of, self-help means I'm helping myself. I don't understand why books and tapes are the answer for some people, but I will tell you that if they give you some insight into yourself, I consider them very worthwhile. I think a lot of you that have watched the stream before, and during my morning drive or afternoon drive during the week, I think you guys have heard me talk about Tony Robbins or Anthony Robbins and how I got involved with that. That was 100% a catalyst in many, many, many of the positive changes in my life. Now, he's went on way since then. I mean, the only exposure I've had to him since, his 30 Days to Personal Power, I've had zero. I mean, I really haven't followed him and read anything, or I'm sure he's made a lot of changes and things as well. But when I was working for a company, I was working for a computer company, and you guys may have heard the story. I was working for a computer company after I got out, and I was servicing the entire Detroit metro area. I was going all over the place, servicing customers, repairing their computers and their networks and whatnot. And I had, we had, nice big clients, and and you could call me at home. I'd come to your house and fix it. So we had a banner year one year. Actually, my first year there, I was the only employee. It was the owner who dispatched me, and it was just me that went around and fixed everything. I was the only employee, and we made about $800,000 that year. But he didn't give me a raise, and he made some excuse about, 3 to 6 months we'll do another review. But it was a banner year. He had never made that much before, But of course, I didn't get any gratitude or any raise because of that. But just before that meeting, one of the clients I was at put me on. Actually, several of the clients were utilized this Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, 30 Days to Personal Power, and they had these cassettes on their desks and their shelves, and I'd ask about them, and they all said they were the greatest things since sliced bread. And the one guy says if I bought them and I didn't like them, I could give them to him. He'd buy them back from me. So just before I went in for my review and everything, I actually bought the tapes. I was going to listen to them. But after the review, and I didn't get the raise, I literally spent the entire week of Personal Power. I listened to it like 3 days. But come Monday, when I was ready, got up, got in the shower, and I was thinking about going to work. I was downstairs, and my wife came down, and I was just kind of, this company, this is not. So I had these tapes that I listened to had cleared my thinking so much in my perspective and everything. I was literally, I had actually typed up my entire resignation. I put it in the fax machine, and I dialed the number, and I was getting ready to send it, and I was just kind of sitting there. But don't do this, you're gonna, you got all these things going on, and well, here comes my wife, and she's like, what are you doing? And I says, well, I was gonna fax my resignation. I can build my own company. I can be a success. I don't need little to no money in the bank. She says, you've got rent, you've got car payment, we have kids that are getting ready to go to school, they need school clothes, after the summer. So she put this all in perspective for me. She says, do you understand all of the things we have? And I said, yes I do. And she goes, and you think you can just go ahead and start your own business and all those things will be taken care of? And once again, I'm like, well, I feel that I'm capable of doing it. And she leans over and she hits the button and sucks my damn fax in and dials it and sends it. I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, if you think you can do it, then go do it. And I was like, oh my God. And that moment, that was the catalyst. I read these tapes, or I listened to these tapes, and I really, truly, it opened my eyes to what I was capable of. And really, just, they were very eye-opening, because a lot of times you don't see things in the right perspective, and it takes someone to pull them to your attention. And so, sure enough, I went out and started a company 8 months to the day, literally 8 months to the day. We did over $1 million in Standard Federal Bank, and I had great clients, AM General, Budweiser. AM General was the one that they make the Humvees for the military. I had Roush Racing. I would do Roush in Livonia, Michigan. I had great customers, great clients, and a great opportunity, and it was all because I was really able to tap into my potential and what I was capable of. Most people, and I'll say most of you folks, you really don't know what you're capable of. You know what you've done, you know what you'd like to do, but I don't think that you really, most people anyway, don't really realize what they're capable of doing. Because if they did, they'd be doing it. They would actually be way more than they are. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that they literally are born and they only know that they should work for someone else. They were brought up in that type of a time where they feel there's a sense of security. But there's not. It's a false sense of security, but they feel that if I go in for 40 hours a week, week after week, I get a check, my bills get paid, my kids get fed, and they have to work for someone else. Because they're not saying, I'm entrepreneurial, I can start my own business, I can do this. They don't do that. They rely on someone else. So for their entire lives, their hand will always be like this, waiting for that check, waiting, to get paid. Now, any company that has a problem, make no mistake, you're a number, you're a dollar sign, you're a figure, you're the first thing, the owner is always going to get paid. The people high up on the totem pole are going to get paid. And you know what? Even if you're high up on the totem pole, there's no guarantee you're going to get paid if things go wrong with that company. There's cutbacks and layoffs and reorganizations. Shit happens. And you just got to be able to say to yourself, no matter what happens, I know I'll be okay because I know what I'm capable of. So, a lot of great stuff out there. But that was one of the things that, for me, was a catalyst. Tony Robbins, go figure. Anthony Robbins, and he's got so much stuff out there today. I haven't even went. He's got seminars here in Florida. He does. I'd love to go. I'd love to, but I think they're out of my price range right now. I'm not I can't really afford to go to those, but I know, in my heart, I know that he'd probably have great information, great stuff to put out there, and he would put me back in alignment. That's why these last 10 years, I kept thinking maybe I fell out of alignment with what I was believing and what was me, but I don't know, you know, it's tough to tell. Really tough to tell. But he gives you a nice dose of reality and, you know, kind of puts things in perspective. And it's helped me a lot because, you know, what he says isn't. Let me go back. What Tony Robbins said on these tapes, none of it, absolutely none of it, was things that I myself wouldn't have been able to figure out sitting down analyzing, you know. But what it was it made it so much easier when he put it in perspective. I didn't have to search for it. I didn't have to find the inner meaning. It was there. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. If you don't do any type of introspection of yourself, if you don't sit down and think about who you are, why you're doing the thing, you know, if you don't really do that, where you think we fall victim sometimes to having pity parties, right? We have these pity parties, woe is me. So, hold on one sec, guys. I got that poor connection again. Anyway, I'll probably end up cutting this short. I'm going to start losing my signal, so I'll end up stopping. Let them tell you what their perception is, and it might help you a lot. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I can see my connections being lost. My frame rate is going down, and I don't want this to be too choppy, so I'll let you guys know how. I'll keep you updated on the casino if I can get a signal out there, and we'll talk soon, guys. Have a great Saturday, and I'll let you know how I do on this tournament.